They do it to build their self-confidence or for certain careers that they have.
What career do you need big boobs?
Um,
Because
it was weird. Even when you just did it, it was like my uncle giving me a kiss. That's how my uncle kisses me. So it would have been creepy. That's it. And then she decided, okay, yeah, that was too much for me. Along with, it's probably something else he said through text message that made her feel uncomfortable because they were talking for 2 weeks and then she finally told him. And she probably got her confirmation like, yeah, I can't do it.
It's something I always ask myself or just think about is, if somebody is not a Christian, why do they get married? How y'all doing? I'm Reggie. This is my lovely wife Zoe. We got a good one for you today. We are going to be giving people advice in the dating world, singles, and giving our perspective on just what's life like being a single and how you can help yourself and get yourself prepared to get married and find what people call the one. So to get started, how do you think people should conduct themselves if they want to be married? If you're a single person, what do you think they should do, and how do you think they should be as a single in this life?
How should people be as a single person that is seeking to get married?
Yeah.
I would say educate yourself on what it means to be married. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Educate yourself on what it means to be married. I mean,
Okay,
what it looks like, the responsibilities that come with it.
Mm-hmm. So, like, it's just in terms of life. Like, what do you think they could do? How do you think they can walk through life as far as educating? Okay, they get the education, and then what?
And then they will determine, can I do this? Is this something that I want to do?
Okay. So just basically saying, like, okay, if you're single, you need to get a better understanding on what to expect when you get married. For me, you know, I look at it like a lot of times in church, people are always talking about marriage. They're always talking about you need to get married. This is how you are when you're married. They bring up Ephesians, you know, and a wife is supposed to submit. A husband is supposed to love. Like, you get all of these long lessons on marriage, but how often do people talk about being single? And how do people live? How are you supposed to respond and act as a single, you know? So for me, I like to think about a lot of times as, like you said, once you get an understanding of what you're supposed to do, what your role is in marriage, then I think that should show you or give you an indication of how you need to be in singleness. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I mean, and you said that before, like in church, people press you to get married, but I've never experienced that. I guess if you're dating around a lot, I do hear older people saying, like, when are you going to get married to this person? But as far as, like, being single and you're not, like, if you're not dating around, I haven't experienced, like, being pressured.
Well, that's because me and you, we never was single in adulthood. So, like, think about our lives. Like, we were high school, college, and then we're together, right? We married right out of college, so there was never that pressure of
when you're gonna
get married, because you was married, right? When you came back home from college, you were married, so nobody had to ask you like when you gonna get married. But when you talk, like, we got a close friend. Every time I talk to him on the phone, it's, hey, you got somebody? Like, what you gonna do? What's gonna happen? And so you constantly have that thought in your mind of, dang, I gotta get somebody. Like, I'm getting 30. I'm 35. You know, as the time you get older, that weight and that pressure starts to get to you. You know, and so that's something I think about is what should you do? So as a man, right? And if the Bible tells me to love my wife like Christ loved the church, well, in order to really get to that or be that way in marriage and singleness, I have to understand what that is. And so as a woman, the Bible tells you you need to submit. And so if you never submitted in singleness, if you never submitted under the authority of God or learn how to go after God or had a servant's heart in singleness, then when you get married, you're not going to be able to do that. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying?
That makes perfect sense. You should, I mean, the advice that I can give is that you should fall in love with Christ first before you get married. That way you know what love looks like, what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. So for you, I don't know how many single friends you have, right? But if you're talking to somebody who's single, what do you think is the best way for them to find a spouse?
Um, well, that would be a question for you because men are supposed to find a woman. Women are just supposed to stay prepared, right?
Okay, so the Bible does say a man who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think the woman's role is then? If the woman's supposed to be found, what is her role then in singleness?
Knowing what a godly wife is, and so that when a man does find you that says that he's your husband or wants to be your husband, you know, you can basically hold him up to Christ and see what his walk looks like, how he treats you, his values, and things like that.
That's good. So I guess then I'll speak for this as a man. I know a lot of times we get caught up in a lot of external things, right? How a woman looks, you know, what she got going on. And those are things that's easy to see. As a man in singleness, I think you have to figure out what does leadership look like? What kind of leader are you? And what is the weight of leadership? I think a lot of times we don't think about that. And then we get married and we're like, wow, I'm not prepared for this. I got to deal with her emotions. I got to lead her spiritually. I got to lead her financially. Like all these different ways you have to step up and be ready for somebody to put the blame on you for everything, right? That's just kind of what comes with being a man, is getting blamed for stuff. So
I mean, if it's your responsibility, it's your responsibility. I wouldn't say.
I feel like we get blamed for too much though. Like everything is our problem. It's like, that's why I'm like, what, a woman has to play some kind of role in the whole process of finding somebody or coming together or being with them.
So what type of role do you wish that women would take in marriage?
When it comes to dating, at least be nice or be approachable.
Hey, how you doing over there, Redbone?
Bitch, you is ugly.
Well, damn.
I feel like a lot of times, like, especially in this day and age, it's like if you ain't coming with money, a woman not really want to talk to you. They ain't trying to hear you. If, what they call it, you ain't got the bag, or you ain't taking them on this fancy first date, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you be open.
And I think that's okay because a part of being a husband is being a provider. So what the woman wants to know is that you can provide for them. So if you come with this front acting like you broke, trying to see if she's going to accept you when you broke, don't get mad when she doesn't. She doesn't want anybody that's broke that can't provide for her.
There's a fine line between that. There's a fine line between wanting somebody who can provide and then just searching for somebody who makes the most money or who gonna, you know, wine and dine you the most or take you to the best restaurant.
Bag.
But what if that's like, what she wants in life?
Then that brings me to my point of like, if you're in the dating world, you only need one person. Only one person you got to connect with. You ain't got to connect with all these women, right? So like right now, you're on a dating website. That's like the big thing now is being on dating websites. Dating apps and all that, right? And you go on dates. My advice is just be you. If you are a cheap person, if you're a man, you don't like spending, just be that way. If the woman don't accept it, they don't accept it, right? Like you said, if you're a woman that you want a man that makes you gotta be a certain type of woman or man for what you want. Yeah. If I'm a man, I'm gonna say I got a high standard. She gotta look this type of way. Okay. You understand if you want a woman who has the big boobs and big breasts and she fake and you gotta make a certain level of money or whatever to deal with that type of woman.
What?
Yeah. If you're a woman and you say, I want a man that got this amount of money, this amount of dollars, he got all this, then you need to be able to be the type of woman that type of man is going to want.
I heard you say like big boobs or something.
Nah, yes. He's saying those like Hollywood women, they got like the fake face and the fake that. They come with like a price tag.
Yeah, if a man wants a woman who has all the fake luxuries, the boobs, she dress up, she got all that, he want that. If that's the type of woman that he wants, those type of women are usually high maintenance.
Okay, so now we're stereotyping people.
Well, okay, tell me what's the stereotype?
I'm just saying, you're saying all those women that have like fake bodies want men with a lot of money.
Why do they get a fake body?
Women?
Mm-hmm.
They do it to build their self-confidence.
Stop the cap.
Or for certain careers that they have.
What career do you need big boobs? What career do you need?
I mean, you have video girls.
Video? What's a video girl?
You know what a video girl is, like BET,
That's
MTV.
and those video girls, they want dudes who got money.
Right. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. If a girl is putting money into her body,
Mm-hmm.
she is trying to attract a certain type of guy. So if you are a certain type of guy that wants that type of woman, you got to understand what comes with it. If she's putting herself out online with the bags and with the boobs out, and they call it thirst trapping, if she's doing all that, you got to understand, if that's what you want, you got to have a certain level of money to deal with that. Yeah?
Yeah, if she's already putting a lot of money into her appearance, then you have to have the money to maintain that.
Maintain what she's trying to keep up. And I also think on the flip side, as a woman, if you sit there and be like, oh, well, my man gotta pay for this and he gotta do this and all that, then you gotta come with something that man is like, you know what? I'm willing to pay for this. I'm willing to do all these type of things. Like, everybody's not like that. And so you get into the dating world, I think you can't have unrealistic expectations of, oh, I want this, this, and this, but you're personally not preparing yourself for what it is that you say or think that you want.
Yeah.
So for you, how do you think it is, like, dealing with this social media era in dating, like, from just, I guess, your perspective of what you've seen out here?
I mean, I think it sucks if you spend a lot of money on your body and then now you have to deal with the upkeep, because then now it's not like you're a person, you're an item, and so now the man is purchasing you and he has to keep up with whatever you have going on, or at least you have to keep up with it. I don't live that type of lifestyle. So.
No, that's good. I mean, it's good. I think what's difficult too is, like, I feel like we're always trying to keep up with something. Like, when you're on social media, you're looking at the next wave, the next this, like, a lot of times your thoughts and ideas is not your thoughts and ideas. Like, these people, I don't know if you heard about the list of, like, first dates of where people don't want to go for a first date. Mm-hmm. And, like, one of them was like, it was like Cheesecake Factory, Cheddar's. It was like a bunch of restaurants that people generally go to. Yeah. You know, and it's like these women are saying, oh, if a man takes me to the Cheesecake Factory on the first date, it's a problem. But it's like they build all these things from social media. It's like, where do you even get that?
I think some things
from?
are just for clout as well.
Yeah.
So,
like, you think, like, this is not what these people really think. They just...
You can't believe everything you see on the internet.
Well, I like that.
What would you say, what would both of y'all say to, like, women that have been on these dates like Cheesecake Factory, Cheddar's, and all that, and then the dude always turns out to be not good, but now are they supposed to lower their standards? Like, now they're like, okay, I want a guy with money because I've been on all of these cheap dates and I've been treated bad. Now I'm going for the guy with money because if I'm going to get treated bad, at least I'm getting something out of the deal. What do y'all feel about that?
I think for me, you only need one person. There's a bunch of bad people, or quote unquote bad people, anywhere, right? You can have a bad experience. You may not just jail or mesh with a particular person. I don't think the date determines whether y'all mesh or whether y'all get along or whether y'all have chemistry. You know, I think you have to build a friendship first. You have to get to know somebody first. Like, that's really what it's all about. It's about knowing the person's heart, knowing who they really are, what they really value, what they think. You know, and I think if you get to that, instead of worrying about the exterior, like, why does it matter where you're at? If you could be out walking at a park or sitting in a car or whatever, like, if you can get to know this person and you can communicate with this person and y'all can mesh, that's more important than where y'all go out to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, hell, me and you, we went to McDonald's plenty of times. We got McDonald's and ate, and it was just
I don't
fine.
remember that, but I remember going to Chili's.
Girl, I almost proposed to you at McDonald's.
30.
I almost proposed to you at McDonald's.
You didn't though, and no.
I would have, because we had a lot of McDonald's. we ate a lot of McDonald's. Okay, so I got a good question for you. As a woman, what do you think a good first date is? Or what can a man do or give to a woman on a first date that you think could bring some kind of value?
The only thing that pops into my head is our first date, and you invited me to a party that your friends were having. And so I really like that as a first date because it showed that, like, you weren't ashamed of this person. Because some people act ashamed of the person that they're dating, especially, like, if they don't know them yet, they kind of try to weigh them out. But then you took me around your closest friends already, and so I was getting to know them and you, and I guess how you act around them.
Yeah. So. You know, okay, what's interesting about that is, what if, because we didn't really know each other much, right? So what if this person is somebody you've never met before on a dating website, and they're like, hey, me and a couple of my friends, we're going to go out bowling or something.
So I would just say a public place, because I don't know you, right? So just take me somewhere public where I can get to know you in a safe environment. Would
you think it still would be as cool if he had friends there, even though it's just for your first time interacting?
If it's like a triple date, yeah. Double date, triple date. It would be weird if you took a girl on a date and you just had a guy friend with you. So
no, you can't do that. But if it's a group of people, because I wonder how people feel about that nowadays. Like, it's such a, I don't know, man. Society is so different. It's so weird. It's so social media driven that I feel like you said, we get so caught up in this fake persona of what we've seen online. It's like, it seems like people have a hard time just being real. I kind of want to talk about something. I know we ain't talking about this, but with one of my friends, right? He went on the first date. And it was a blind date, right? He didn't see the girl. The girl kind of saw pictures of him. And so she was okay with going on a date with him. They went on a date. What he told us is everything was fine. He said they had a good time. And it gets to the end of the date. And he asked her, hey, is it okay if I give you a kiss? Right? And the girl was like, nah, like, I'm not really comfortable with that. So he was like, cool, whatever. So then once they're leaving, he like gives her a kiss on the cheek. You know, like the one of those. Okay? And so he said it was like 2 weeks later. He said they've been talking, they've been interacting. 2 weeks later, the girl sends him a message and said, hey, I was really, really uncomfortable with you. I feel like you overstepped my boundaries when you gave me the kiss that I asked you not to.
She asked him not to?
Yeah, she actually said she was not okay with a kiss. But he gave her just a little...
So he just gave her a peck on the cheek like, okay, well, maybe this is fine.
Okay, so what do you think about that? From a woman's perspective, do you feel like... Okay, she said she wasn't okay with a kiss. He's thinking a kiss on the lips. So he gives her the, greeting side cheek kiss. What do you think about it? Do you feel like that's
it was weird. Even when you just did it, it was like my uncle giving me a kiss. That's how my uncle kisses me. So it would have been creepy.
Oh
just
my
being
God.
honest, that was like an uncle kiss, or the way my dad would like, kiss me on the cheek, like, all right, baby, bye. I'll see you later.
But is that overstepping a boundary? If she said she don't want to kiss, but he does.
Yeah, because I don't know you like that.
But see, I just feel like overstepping a boundary to where you like, I don't want to fool with you no more, because if they were vibing, if they were cool, they having conversation, they even was messaging after that. How was that overstepping a boundary?
Because she said I don't want to kiss. So why did you still peck me? Like, that's still intimate. Like, that's not how we greet people.
But you just said that's something like, okay, yeah, so in America, that's not something we do, right?
Yeah, that's not how we greet people. Like, even if you're just meeting someone and you shake their hand, it's not the, we don't do that. So he did overstep her boundary.
A part of me felt like she kind of had this conversation with one of her friends, and her friends was like, girl, he still did this? I can't believe he did. That's what I took away from it, because I'm like, if she's still talk to you after, and then now all of a sudden she decided 2 weeks later that was a boundary.
No, she probably decided right then and there, but she needed time to process it, and then she decided, okay, yeah, that was too much for me, along with, it's probably something else he said through text message that made her feel uncomfortable, because they were talking for 2 weeks, and then she finally told him, and she probably got her confirmation, like, yeah, I can't do it.
I feel like it's so tough, man. How do you balance that? How do you balance just being on a first date, and you know you want things to progress a little bit? How do you progress it, or how do you take it to a different level, or just say goodbye? You just want to give a hug, a little side peck, you know?
I mean, I would say the deepest connections is like more emotional, not kissing somebody. That's not taking it to the next level that you would want in singleness.
I'm with you. So we got a show that we like to watch, Married at First Sight. We love it. It's like one of our favorite couple shows we watch together. And the whole premise of the show is we're arranged marriages. You have these experts. They give people all these questions, go through a questionnaire, and they say, hey, what do you like? I mean, they go through a whole intense list of do's, don'ts, personalities. They go visit these people. And they match these people up with who they feel is their perfect match scientifically. Yeah. So, like, everybody always talks about the one, my person, right? And so these experts are matching them up with whatever qualities that they think they have. They're matching them up with the qualities. So what do you think about just the whole premise of the show? Like, do you think it's a cool idea? What do you think about it?
I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's basically arranged marriage, but it's not their parents doing it. It's a group of experts that they trust.
The people are putting trust in.
Yeah.
So why do you think people are signing up for it? Like, what do you think the whole catch? Why would you sign up to be married at first sight?
Because they don't like dating. Like, they're tired of the dating scene. They're tired of the apps, swipe right, left, and then they're tired of that. And they want something. They know that they want something serious, and so they don't want to waste any more time, and so they sign up for the show. I
like it. I mean, personally, I think if I was single, I think I would do something like Married at First Sight, because I don't like the fluff. I like to say, let's get straight to the point. But I feel like you have to be in such a different mindset to deal with marriage. Like, it's different from going from single to marriage. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, like, do you think there's something as the one? Like, me personally, I don't think there's a such thing as the one. Like, there's only one person that's for you in life. Do you think, like, there's only one person that's for you or for somebody?
No, and then we kind of talked about that in our first episode where you were saying you feel like God just gave you peace, and he gives us peace to make our own decisions, and he kind of just directs our steps, and so probably not.
So, okay, so that goes to, like, in the show, why when you have these perfect matches, this is somebody who they gave you all your list, everything these people wanted. Why do you think so many of these couples don't work out on the show? Just from your opinion, from us watching as fans of the show.
I would say maybe they feel cheated. They see something that they don't like and they don't want to deal with it, and they're like, man, why did I get matched with this person? Like, this was not in my criteria, and they probably feel cheated, like, oh, I could have found somebody better, despite all of the other attributes that match.
I'm with you on that. Like, so many times they get so caught up on the one thing that was wrong, and they begin to magnify. They can't get over it. And I think that happens a lot of times just in life. Like, we meet people or we talk to people and we focus so much on the negative that when the positive things happen, it's like we overlook the positive and we magnify and lift up the negative things. Because I know we're watching on the show and I'm looking at these couples and they're just like, man, that's the perfect match. Like, their personalities match, their families match. Everything is just seemingly so perfect watching the show, and it's like, they don't work out. Yeah. You know, they don't work out. And so, do you think can arranged marriages work? Like, we watched the last season we watched, I mean, 5 out of the 5 couples didn't work out. Yeah. So, do you think that type of system could actually work.
It does work. I have a friend who has an arranged marriage.
Okay.
She's from India. So, I mean, it's a practice that people still do today.
It works. I feel like it can work overseas. Like you're saying, like she's from India. In those places, they do arranged marriages, and I think it seems like they look at love and marriage differently. Like they're bringing the families together. They look at the union differently than here in America, the way that we tend to view love or our ideal on love. Because I think a lot of times that's why they break up, because they get with somebody, they don't know how this person looks. They didn't pick the person. And so I think because they didn't pick the person, it takes away the pressure from them. Like, oh, well, if I don't like this, then I'll just move on.
Yeah, but that just has to do with like their values. I think there's some good things that we can take from other cultures that they do. Mm-hmm. Like my friend, she's Hindu, and mm-hmm. so that's what they do. They do arranged marriages, and it works. They don't believe in divorce. And us as Christians, are we supposed to believe in divorce?
No.
Okay, so I mean.
But that's the thing. Okay, you go into it as a believer, and you say, I'm going to do this arranged marriage. Then the mindset has to be, we're in it for the long haul. Like, no matter what happens, we're in it.
Yeah.
But then you get into situations on the show, and I don't know if you're going to talk about it later, but you get in a situation on the show where somebody has crazy things going on. And it's like, well, I didn't know what this person had going on. I didn't even have time to figure that out. And so what do? You know what I'm saying? Like, you with this person, and the person got a whole different life, or they just went to jail, or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I don't think they would pick someone with like a criminal background, but I think it comes down to religion.
You think that's the bigger?
Probably. How serious are they taking their faith?
I never looked at it like that on the show. Like, I wonder the percentages of people who are believers, mm-hmm. and they get two believers that come together, and them staying together where the people that are not. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is something you take away from the show? Like, how do you think it helps our marriage when we watch it?
I don't think it helps our marriage by watching it, but it's time that we spend together.
You don't think we take anything away? Like, I think sometimes we could look at it and, you know, maybe you see the way somebody handles a situation, or the way somebody deals with a situation, like, and you don't take anything away and like, oh, you know, maybe I can handle a situation differently, or think about, you know, you ever look at it and
yeah, but I can't think of a specific instance right now. Honestly, I'm still stuck on the arranged marriages, and I'm thinking about my friend who's Hindu, who they don't even like believe in divorce. So like I said, I think that plays a pivotal role in the marriage is not working, because they're deciding to get a divorce.
Okay. So let's go with a story that happened on the show. Mm-hmm. A guy and a girl gets married, right? The girl says she's a Christian. The guy says he's a Christian. Okay? Mm-hmm. They're talking, and they've been married for 3 weeks. He doesn't really find her attractive. And so he's like trying to navigate that, right? And he's mm-hmm. telling her, hey, I don't really find you attractive. I think he told her family he doesn't find her attractive. And so, like, he's kind of made it a big thing, right? Yeah. Then, come to find out, his ex-girlfriend is pregnant. Right? His ex-girlfriend is pregnant. So, now she's married to this guy. He doesn't find her attractive. Ex-girlfriend's pregnant. Got a baby on the way. Then he buys the ex-girlfriend a Mercedes. Right? He's doing all this while he's supposed to be married to this girl, that he's telling the girl he doesn't find her attractive.
Yeah, I don't think he took the show serious at all.
But I'm saying, at that point, they're married. Mm-hmm. You know, like, okay, what do you do? Like, okay, I don't believe in divorce. I don't want to get a divorce. Now, with this guy who's, like, telling me how unattractive I am, he has this other woman on the side that apparently he's invested into, or he has to be invested in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, honestly, I would leave. I would be upset with the experts. Like, y'all matched me with this person. Y'all are taking my life as a joke. Like, I'd be livid.
Divorce is over here in America. Divorce is too easy of access. The fact that they have a show where you don't even become friends with the person. You marry them, then you get to know them, and then you have the option of divorce, because that's how willy-nilly divorce is here.
Now that's, to me, that's the thing. One thing I don't like with the show. If I could talk to the producers of the show, I love the show. I love the idea of the show. I love the experts on the show. Mm-hmm. The one thing I would change is decision day. There should not be a decision day. Because, like you're saying, when there's a decision day, now it's that, okay, well, I'm constantly in my head thinking about divorce. I'm thinking about, do I really want to be with this person? Do I not want to be with this person? Okay, if I just get a divorce, I have my excuse lined up. I didn't know them. I didn't pick them. They need a takeaway decision day. Yeah. And what they should do is just end it and then have the reunion show like 3 months, 6 months later, and just let us get an update. And if they choose to stay together from that, then that's fine. But I don't like the whole idea of, okay, we're going to give you this choice of getting a divorce. Because I think if somebody gave us a choice, right? if somebody came in 6 months or a year into our marriage and said, okay, you're going to sit down, we're going to give you this clean slate of, do y'all want to get married? Do y'all want to get divorced? It was like, I got an option. Like, okay, maybe I'll choose the way out, But when you don't have that, I think you sit and you're like, okay, let's stick through it. Let's make it work. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you think about that?
Yeah, it should be ingrained in their culture that divorce is not an option. But the problem is, on that show, there's different religious backgrounds. So,
and if they change it just become Love Is Blind. It'd just be the Love Is Blind show.
True. That's the difference between that and Love Is Blind. It's that level of commitment, right? Love Is Blind gives you that time to get to know them, to decide if you want to commit. Whereas Married at First Sight is like that, and that's why I'm like, well, why are people joining the show? You know what the show is about. Why would you join a show knowing, like, one lady, the guy, she told the guy, hey, yeah, I just had sex 2 weeks before I signed up for the show. It's like, well, and he was upset about it. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like, dang, like, I don't even know how I feel.
It was like 3 months.
Yeah, it was like some time before, but it's like, you're signing up for a show where you're going to get married.
Yeah, but then that's why I say it comes down to your belief system, because she probably believed in having sex before marriage. Mm-hmm. So,
I'm with you on that. I think that's a big part of it, and I think like in order to be successful going from singleness into marriage, you have to do singleness right. Mm-hmm. And the way you do singleness right is, like you're saying, you have to focus on Jesus. And as a man, you have to focus on submitting under Christ, submitting to his authority, and not doing everything you want to do. Not making every decision you want to make. You have to learn how to lead. You have to learn how to submit and learn how to not follow all of your desires, because your desires can lead you down a long and dark road. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a big thing. And so as a man, so once you get into marriage, then you become a leader and you have somebody that's looking to you to make decisions, and you're going to make the right decision because you're like, I don't have to go with my emotions. I'm able to humble myself. I'm able to say, you know what? I don't have to get my way every time. I don't have to have the last word. Like, you're able to humble yourself because you've been working on that and doing that before marriage. It's hard to get into marriage and all of a sudden you got to humble yourself, and all of a sudden you got to deal with and attack those issues
that obedience,
that you wasn't doing before.
Practice that obedience in singleness, and so that will carry over to marriage.
And so I got a scripture that kind of helps with that, and it's Luke 14:28-30. And it says, "For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down and first count the cost, for whether he has enough to finish it? Lest after he's laid the foundation and is not able to finish, that everybody who sees him will mock him, saying, this man began to build something and was not able to finish." And so that goes to everything that we're saying today is, don't get into marriage or get into a relationship and don't count the cost. You have to understand what you're going to have to lose when it comes to that. Yeah. You can't be married and single at the same time. You can't have a selfish mindset. It can't be all about you. You have to really figure out, am I ready for this? Am I ready to humble myself? Am I ready to die to myself daily and say, look, how can I serve this other person? What can I do for this other person? You know, like, those are the biggest things. You know, do you have anything to say to that?
Yeah, it's hard to consider doing something if you don't know what it fully entails.
Mm-hmm.
So, talk about what it fully entails. If you're a Christian, what does the Christian marriage look like?
Yeah, and that's good. Like, it's something I always ask myself or just think about is, if somebody is not a Christian, why do they get married? What bars or what parameters do you follow? Where does the line stop? Like, what makes you do anything? You know, like, what guidelines do you follow?
Well, where did marriage start?
Marriage it's biblical. It starts from day one, Adam and Eve, and that's where it begins, and it kind of, you know.
So it began in Christianity, and now you have other religions that are copying Christianity, or?
I mean, I would say it just started from just the beginning of time, a man and a wife being joined together, and it just progresses throughout. Is that, you know, people join together and they get married, but in the day and age we live in now, what reward do you get out of quote unquote marriage if you're not a believer? You know, that's something that I would want to know. Like, why do people, if you don't believe in the Bible or some form of religion, why do you choose to get married? What's causing you to get married? What makes you want to get married? You know?
Well,
legal reasons.
Yeah.
Just the legality of it.
It's the court's fault for adding religion into their place. So now, if you're a non-believer, but you want to have a commitment and legally be with this person to make sure nothing happens, I now have to follow a book that I don't read. But the courts, which is it really the court's fault? Because the idea of marriage probably came before Christianity. The idea of this is my partner, it's animalistic. Yeah. Like even with lions, bears, this is my partner. I chose this person to be with me, and then it seemed like Christianity or just any other religion came over and took the idea of marriage. And now we have marriage in our legal documents. I mean, we have religion in our legal documents. So it's like, you really can't fault the person that isn't religious that want to get married. Because it's like they didn't ask for religion to join legal.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a business thing.
Okay. I can see that. I can see that. I understand that. You got another scripture?
Yeah, I have one. Well, I have two, I think. Let's see. So Matthew 1:18. So I did want to say, in biblical times, they went through a 1 year period before marriage and a 1 year period. Yeah, a 1 year period before marriage. So I think it's called the betrothal period. Do you know how to pronounce it? Betrothal period. So anyway, the groom prepared his house for the bride to come stay. And I believe, you know how the man goes and asks the woman's family for her hand in marriage? So I believe in that time, back in biblical times, he would have to take a gift.
Okay.
And propose, like, I want to marry your daughter. So I have Matthew 1:18. So this is the most famous period of betrothal. How do you say it? Betrothal. Matthew 1:18. This is how the birth of Jesus the Messiah came about. His mother, Mary, was pledged to be married to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be pregnant. So they were in the betrothal period. She was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. So he was either going to do away with her, kill her, or divorce her quietly, because he was trying to figure out, how did she get pregnant? We're only in this, they were in their engagement period. So how did she get pregnant? So that's Matthew 1:18.
So how does that relate to what we've been talking about with singleness and what about dating, and how could you take that away from what we've been talking about? Because what I would think is, like, you know, as a man, you have to, you know, have that time, that engagement time where y'all are figuring things out. But you also have to take that time to get to know her family, to start setting
that's
up life
basically what the betrothal period is. So
yourself.
I said the groom is preparing his house to raise his family in. So they're getting to know each other. They're getting ready to cut ties and things like that, like with their family to come together. Mm-hmm. So they're getting to know each other. And then I have Deuteronomy 24:5 in the Bible. It says that a newlywed man should not be sent to war or have other duties for 1 year after getting married. Instead, he should be free to stay home and make his wife happy. Mm-hmm. Some people recommend taking a year off from other responsibilities to focus on your spouse's happiness during this time. So
I need to see what version that is.
Go ahead and pull it up on your phone, Deuteronomy 24:5, and read the King James Version, please. So, I mean, both of my scriptures tie into getting to know a woman. Because mm-hmm. you were talking about, like, advice to singles. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, we don't have as much experience being single and dating. But if someone wants advice, like, you can go to the Bible. There was an engagement period in the Bible. Mm-hmm. And they did have certain measures that they followed that are different now in modern times. Mm-hmm.
So my last scripture to deal with this is Matthew 5:23-29. And it says, wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife. Also, Christ is the head of the church. And he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, just as the church is subject to Christ, let the wives be subject to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word, that he might present her to himself as a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and without blemish. So husbands are to love their own wives as their body, and he who loves his wife loves himself. For no one's ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes it, cherishes it just as the Lord does the church. And so, again, that goes to what I'm saying, like, yes, this is about marriage. Yes, it's talking about how wives should be to their husbands, how husbands should be to their wives. But again, like I've been saying throughout this, if you don't do that in singleness, you won't be able to do that in marriage. Wives, if you don't, or women, if you can't submit in singleness, you won't be able to submit in marriage. Men, if you don't know how to submit in singleness, you won't be able to lead in marriage. And so all these things, like, we have to live these things out in singleness before we can fully walk them and live them out in marriage. And so that's what I have for that. Do you have anything that you want
to? No, you're just asking how my verses related to what we were talking about, and it made me feel bad. But my verses were basically my verses were basically like just to prove that how modern culture basically influences religion, because there are things we do today that are just have evolved. For instance, they say like the bride's dad is supposed to pay for the wedding. Well, that's not true. In biblical times, it was actually the groom's father that paid for the wedding. It was actually like a buying process. Like the family had to present gifts and things like that, and the families actually kind of vetted each other out, just like an arranged marriage, and saw whether, okay, is this man and his family worthy of being married to our daughter? And so it was like that back in the day.
For sure. Always remember, dream like you never failed.
Laugh like you never cried.
Love like you never hurt.
Because love never fails.